Nobility is defined by the demands it makes on us, by obligations, not by rights. Noblesse oblige. To live as one likes is plebeian. The noble man aspires to order and law. Jose Ortega y Gasset.
Welcome to Analyzing Finance with Nick. In this video, it's going to be a continuation of our old money series, and I'm going to talk about a concept called the Noblesse Oblige, which I think is one of the biggest differences really between old money in the past and old money and new money in the present. For those who are not familiar, the Noblesse Oblige is a French expression that really basically means that there's a certain obligation of the upper classes to have honorable behavior and serve as an example for the rest of society to follow from a moral perspective. So, a former dictionary definition is whoever claims to be noble must conduct himself nobly. And one must act in a fashion that conforms to one position and privileges for which one has been born, bestowed, or has earned. And a lot of people criticize this, particularly egalitarians, because they're saying that the noblesse oblige gives a justification for the aristocracy to have their wealth. They basically say, hey, wait, this noblesse oblige is basically saying, since I am a more honorable and more noble person, I deserve wealth. And so, where they really were just born with money, they don't deserve anything. I could see that critique, but we live in a mimetic society that people mimic those ahead of them in the social ladder. And I think a lot of the fundamental moral and social issues of the modern era, especially since the 1960s, is that the old money and the elites have given up the noblesse oblige. Like, instead of, like, they hear this critique, and instead of saying, like, who cares, and ignoring it, what they have done is they've either made up for it by just donating to charity, or saying, look, yeah, you're right then. Maybe there is no obligation. We're not morally superior from being born rich, so why don't we just totally indulge in our degenerate decadence? And that is what's happened. And again, since people mimic the values of the leadership of society and those on the top of the pyramid, a lot of the bad habits and luxury beliefs, as Rob Henderson, who's one of my favorite people to follow in sociology, would say, get trickled down to the masses who cannot afford to live in such a profligate way. And it creates a lot of the social problems we have today. I think that the rich giving up the noblesse oblige is the root of a lot of social issues. And I think that if the old money would continue living as what the noblesse oblige would have them be an upstanding citizens and example of society, and that pressure was there, and not only that pressure, they lived it, but they espoused those values publicly, because that's what the upper middle class do. A lot of the upper middle class lived in the way that noblesse oblige would honor them to do so, but they still, like, publicly speak of being tolerant of more degenerate lifestyles because they don't want to sound condescending or judgmental or have a superiority complex. But the noblesse oblige kind of is just a proof that, again, people need a good example. And really just my advice is, even if you're not in old money, be the good example for the community around you. You may not think it makes a difference, but the people in your life, your friends, your family, your colleagues, or if you're an influencer, your audience sees what you do. And if you live like a way that the values you think should be espoused on society, that will rub off on the rest of the world. And if you disregard them, and then the rest of society is going to feel okay to disregard them too. This is a quick video, but the noblesse oblige and the loss of it, I think, is really kind of the root for a lot of social issues, and it's also kind of the root of why people don't respect old money anymore, because if you are bestowed with the gift of fortune and tradition and responsibility and you don't live up to that, then people are going to be like, why should these rich people just be allowed to be spoiled and live a life of leisure when I have to work hard? And that creates a lot of social resentment too on that side of things. But yeah, thank you for watching.